It's no secret that the foreclosure crisis has hit millions of families across America. 1 out of every 10 households with a mortgage is at risk of losing their home. Here to shed some light on the issue is Housing and Urban Development Acting National Homeownership Director, Engram Lloyd. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here.
So, first of all, tell us, what is the primary function of HUD?
Primary function of HUD is to sustain and strengthen communities, to have their involvement throughout the cycle or various cycles. It is also to make sure that we sustain those communities. We make available rentable and affordable housing for those renters that are in those communities, in addition to strengthening and bolstering the housing and homeowners that are out there. The market has taken a hit. A lot of the borrowers are upside down in their properties. So in us reaching our objective, or those objectives that I talked about, it will strengthen the communities throughout the Wilmington area and throughout the country.
Newcastle County has seen 300 foreclosures a month. If you are at risk for foreclosure, how do you avoid this?
Well, number one, open every piece of mail that you get from your lender. We just don't want you to stick your head in the sand and think that this will vanish or go away. So that's very important. Opening your mail, reading your mail, and reaching out to your lender as quickly as possible to inform them of what your financial situation is. I think that's key. We're finding out that in many instances, 50% of the folks who are foreclosed upon usually indicate that they never had any sort of dialogue with their lender. So that is key.
Now, but when we started, you said open up every piece of mail, talk to your lender. So let's give people a list of things that they should be doing immediately if they are facing foreclosure.
Okay. What we would like to see is that if they're facing foreclosure, not only do they reach out to their lender, they should also reach out to a housing counseling agency. And we have a number of housing counseling agencies across the country that we provide grants to. So those are services that they can get free. They can act as a mediator and assist them in contacting their lender. They can also sit down with you as a borrower, go through your documents to make sure that you fully understand your documents. They can also apprise you of the requirements for the state in which you reside in. They can also go and look at your budget and perhaps inform you of what you should be paying, or what are your priorities on a monthly basis. Number one, you need to take care of your health. Anything after the money that you expense for your health needs to be devoted to the mortgage. And in instances where that's not enough in order to cover the mortgage, you need to don't pay any unsecured credit during that period of time.
Why is that?
Your primary, because there's nothing securing that debt. Therefore, your mortgage is your number one priority. If you can scrape up enough in order to pay your mortgage, then you can consider paying your other unsecured debt. If you have other assets that you need to convert to cash in order to make sure you keep your mortgage current, you can also do that. Sell those assets and convert them to cash. The other thing to think about is additional income coming into the household. Maybe you need to look for a part-time job, or other members in your household need to think about getting a part-time job. And in some instances, that doesn't bring in a huge amount of cash. It may not be enough cash in order to service the debt. Nevertheless, your lender may be inclined to work with you after seeing what sort of commitment you have and your desire to stay in your property.
In recent months, I think we've all probably seen a newscast where people were losing their home, and the first thing they said is it really didn't seem like their lender wanted to work with them. So after doing everything on your part that you've done or need to do, it doesn't seem like you're getting any help from the lender. What should you do then?
Be persistent. If there's a situation and you have an FHA mortgage, there are numbers that you can call. You can call our National Servicing Center in Oklahoma City in order to get help. And when you call the National Service Center, make sure that you have the address of your property, your FHA case number available, and other pertinent information that you can give them on the spot, and details concerning your particular lender. Our lenders, FHA servicers, are required to provide you with loss mitigation services. So if you have a situation where for one reason or another they're not willing to assist you, then you need to apprise our National Servicing Center in Oklahoma City.
Now, you don't want everybody just flying off to any service that says they can help you stay in your home. You want people to be very careful about the service that they choose.
That's why I said previously that they should reach out and contact one of our approved housing counseling agencies. We have several throughout the Delaware area and northern Delaware area and throughout the country. HUD provides grants that exceed $80 million nationwide to housing counseling agencies in order to provide borrowers with guidance concerning a delinquency or foreclosure, or pre-purchase counseling if they are first-time home buyers and just want to get acclimated to what's required of them. So that is key.
Can HUD help every person that's facing foreclosure?
It's impossible to help every borrower out there that's facing foreclosure. You may have some situations where a borrower acquired investment property and was speculating that the value of that property will continue to increase. So it's not fair to HUD or the general public or taxpayers to expect that they need to share as far as this burden is concerned that we're facing, this foreclosure crisis. There are a number of folks that the administration has said that we can help, but we just, financially, we're not in a position to help every person that comes. And from what we've seen out there in the marketplace, there was a lot of borrowers that brought nothing to the table as far as a down payment and so forth and so on.
So does that hurt the person now who may be in foreclosure and is seeking help from HUD even more?
Well, you know, we're willing to work with those folks if we can. But the point of the matter is that in many instances, people are just turning in their keys and walking away because they have no vested interest in the property, or the property is upside down and they have no equity whatsoever. And the likelihood of the market turning around to a point where at some point in the future they will have some equity in their property may be slim. Or they may feel that it's just not possible and they just walk away.
What would you tell a person who might be watching now what they should do first if they're facing foreclosure? What would be your top 3 things that you would tell them to do right away?
Number 1, reach out for a housing counseling agency that will help them navigate through the process. Number 2, and actually would probably be number 1, is open your mail, read your mail. Number 3 would be familiarize yourself with the documents, the mortgage documents. You need to pull those, review those, and you know, the counseling agency that's working with you will help you understand the full impact of those particular documents. And if you're in foreclosure, you know, there's some important milestones out there that have to be met by the lender in order to foreclose. You need to be aware of those. And the other thing is just establishing dialogue with the lender. Be persistent. If you feel that they're not responding to your needs, then raise it up to the next level. As I said before, our servicing center in Oklahoma City, the National Servicing Center, if all fails, they should be able to help you navigate and get a response from the servicer or lender.
Now, a home modification program doesn't happen overnight, so that will take some time, right?
It will take some time. And we've gotten a lot of complaints from borrowers, sending in documents and documents being lost or misplaced. And every time they call in, they're dealing with another person. But the lenders are making an effort to overcome some of those challenges that they've experienced in the past. But I do know that it is a challenge, and you as a borrower must be persistent. The other thing that I would suggest that they be very careful about, there are a lot of scams out here also. And what you've got to be very careful about is being presented with documents and signing those documents and not knowing exactly what you're signing. Because in many instances, you may be signing a document that turns you from owning the property to now being a renter. So you're giving up title to your property. They may ask you to pay. And
this is something that your bank, this is something that from a secondary party, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You've got a lot of scam artists that are sending, they will take a look at public records, and many times they'll know who your lender is, and so forth and so on. They may find out the status of your loan, and as a result of that, they may target you for the services that they pretend to provide. So everyone has to be very careful about that. And work very closely with your counseling agency to make sure that you don't fall for one of these scams that, snatch your property from right under you without you really knowing it. So you should run those, any documents that you get like that before you sign it, run it by a counseling agency or a real estate professional or your attorney, just to make sure that you don't get swept up into one of these scams.
And all of the information we talked about can be found on the HUD website, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
There are a couple FHA websites, www.hud.gov or www.fha.gov. You can find the counselors, you can find the 800 numbers. It just has a wealth of information that would be great for your viewers.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd, for joining us, and it was really good information that we hope everybody can take advantage of.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. For everyone here at WITN Channel 22, I'm Shannon Harris for The Record.